This morning, when I woke up, I felt as though there was a major shift that has happened on this planet. I guess while I was sleeping, and it almost feels like the veil it's like dissolving. It's kind of like shriveling away, and it's opening up. Like there's little patches. It's like almost like a veil, and it's like dissolving, and there's like little openings, like little holes that that are giving us light, like light shining through these little holes, like this veil that's really prevented us from tapping into the celestial realm. It's almost like the fifth dimension. Imagine the fifth dimension is here, and then this is the third dimension. It's almost like they're really kind of like there's this force where it's like they're really kind of pushing. The fifth dimension is really trying to push its way and to come into the third dimension, because I feel with the guides is that there's going to be a period of time when the majority of the planet is going through the third dimension at the same time the fifth dimension, because it's just the fifth dimension and the third dimension is really beginning to, it has to really align with the third dimension before we can really get on the path of the fifth dimension, if that makes sense. Because the fifth dimension, it brings in like more of a celestial, deeper sense of consciousness, deeper heart understanding, remembrance of your soul, removal of fear, of the ego, of it's really helping. Fifth dimension really represents stepping into your power and remembering that you are the manifester of your life, and that life is, you get to decide what you want to have in this life, and it's not just you know shit just happens sort of thing. And this third dimension, as it has a lot to do with fear, the ego. Shit just happens. You're not really the creator of your life. You're not really the manifester. And so we got these, this lower understanding of life, and then we have this higher understanding of life, and they're sort of just you know just there's a thing that's pushing them together. That's why I'm saying the veil is getting thinner, because there's like a veil that's between the third dimension and the fifth dimension, like a thick sort of block, and that block is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, which really creating more of a closeness between the third dimension and the fifth dimension. That's why a lot of people are hopping back and forth between the third and the fifth. It's not really they're hopping back and forth, it's just that they're living in both simultaneously because they're so close together right now. While in past of, on Earth, hopping into the fifth dimension, it was, it was just like a big, big leap because of the fact the veil was so thick. It was so thick that hopping to the fifth dimension, a lot of people, couldn't make that leap, couldn't make that jump. But that's why there's, like I said, there's these little holes or patches in this sort of dissolving sort of veil that's, light from the fifth dimension shining through, and people are now beginning to see um, that basically see that there's more to life than what, their senses and perceptions can comprehend. So they're seeing these holes, and they're looking, and it's almost like they're looking into another world. They're tapping into another world energetically, like through their third eye, and they're seeing a different potential for life for themselves. A potential for life that involves manifesting their dreams. We have all, the saying of, you can manifest your dreams, dream big, no dream is not worthy of you, no matter how big it is. But we're really beginning to grasp that. Before, it's kind of like a fantasy, like it's only in fantasy stories and movies that you can actually manifest the life of your dreams. It's kind of just like a fictional sort of thing. But now, through these patches, holes where we can see the light shining through this fifth dimension, we're realizing that, oh my gosh, there's actually, I'm here to, it's actually possible for me to manifest like my heart's true desires. It's actually more than possible. It actually, I can do it if only I can step into this conscious awareness, or be in this state of being where I can basically have it flock to me, have it like magnets, have it be drawn to me. It's like, imagine what the guides are showing me right now is, you have, magnets. In order to, for, let's say, in the fifth dimension, when you're dreaming, or when you're just kind of daydreaming, or even when you're just throughout your day and you're getting little sort of just little feelings, feelings where you can't describe it. Maybe it's deja vu, or feelings that you're just kind of like out of it, like you're checked out, and you like in 30 minutes has gone by while you're driving home, and you're like, where was I? And you get these weird feelings. Um, like you're seeing like little visions that may go by so fast that you can't even like comprehend what that was about. But that is really your energy, your soul is in the fifth dimension. In the fifth dimension, that's a very, you can actually be in the third dimension and be jumping into the fifth dimension, and it's really easy now to say. It's like it's happening simultaneously, where you're jumping into the fifth dimension and your soul is kind of like creating something for yourself. There's like some sort of, you can feel in the third dimension, you're on the body level, that there's something going on, because you feel like you're like, there's something going on, I don't know what it is. That's because your soul, energy of yourself is in the fifth dimension, sort of just uh, connecting with that dimension of manifestation power, of higher understanding of life, being conscious, the consciousness of, collective consciousness, as well as galactic consciousness, and um, a realm where basically anything is possible. Anything is possible, and you're stepping into that while you're kind of, throughout your day, and you're deciding upon what you want to manifest for yourself in the third dimension, in this physical realm. Because you have this fifth dimension really represents a celestial sort of realm. Well, the third dimension really represents a more grounded, earthy, physical sort of realm. And that's why in Earth's history, they've been like so far from each other. But now the veil, like I said, is getting so small. The celestial realm and the physical realm is just like, they're just right here, just kind of spinning around each other. Just spinning around each other, just right here. And eventually the veil will completely dissolve, and it'll just be like blam, they'll just be all over top of each other, where you won't really know the difference between the physical realm and the celestial realm. They'll be just like, they'll be right on top of each other. You won't be bouncing into one or the other. You'll both will be one. So there won't be any simultaneous sort of thing going on where you're in the fifth dimension at the same time you're in the third dimension. It's like you're going to be in just this one, this one dimension, where you'll be you're having a physical life, at the same time you'll be having this consciousness, or this state of being, where you literally throughout your day, and you're tapping into other energies, and you're remembering these things. There's awareness about these things. It's not just like, whoa, what's going on, I feel some energy shifts going on. It's like you can really, on a conscious level, you know exactly what's going on. You have an awareness of what you're sensing on an energy level. A lot of people, they just sense it and they don't really understand it. They're not aware of what's actually going on. They just know that they're feeling something. But now, when these dimensions come together, like I like to say, the golden age, it's really going to be about fear is going to be a thing that really goes away. I'm hearing fear is being afraid is really going to go away, because why do we have fear? Think about it. Fear is because we have fear because of the fact that in the third dimensional reality, we have this sort of perception that dreams are possible in the fairyland, or whatever, in the fantasy books and whatever, but you can't actually pursue that. So then when people challenge that belief system through pursuing like the life of their dreams, fear comes in. Fear, that's basically the creation of fear. Because as a collective in the third dimension, we have this whole all along we knew that we could manifest the life of our dreams, because when we are incarnated, we bring that fifth dimensional truth, and it's like in our heart chakra, and it's always there. It's always there. We can feel it, and that's why we've always been drawn to writing books and writing movies about, anything can happen, like, fictional things, about Cinderella, and the love of your life, and other worlds, and other dimensions, and going to space, and all that stuff, because we know that anything is possible in our heart chakra. But in the third dimension, we weren't the celestial realm. So the fifth dimension, there was such a gigantic gap that, to really to really believe in that truth that we can manifest the life of our dreams in this third dimensional reality, where we have, where we don't we have these belief systems. I don't even really know what to call it per se, but I just these the rooted in, grounded in the physical, where we have the limitations, body limitations, mind's limitations. We have gravity, and that's a limitation, again, and other, science limitation, mathematics limitations. We have this sort of limitations. Um, that's based off of just the physical, just focusing mainly on the physical. Like, there's limitations when you're crossing the Atlantic Sea at a period of time. There was even limitations when it came to the creation of train. People thought, going 40 miles an hour or something like that, your people's brain would be able to take it. That was like a scientific sort of short term sort of, like, theory that if people were to go on a train going 40 miles an hour, that their head would explode, or I don't know, not that drastic, but yeah, that sort of limitations. So when you have this heart-centered truth that anything is possible in this world of physical limitations, it's mainly focused on the physical. 3D is a lot of times focused on the body, the emotions, and the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body. While the spiritual body, that's not really been a focus for us as a collective consciousness on Earth in the third dimension. It's not been the focus. We haven't really been trying to work at that, to master that, to pull that in, because working on the spiritual body it's a working at it. It's not just like instantly you have it, just like a physical and mental and emotional body. That's something as a collective we've had to work through, emotional through working on relationships with other people, and learning to express ourselves and our needs and our wants in relationships, mental through expanding our mind through, math, science, research, school, and the physical, getting our physical body healthy, and through, nutrition and exercise, and connecting with our body and seeing what needs to be healed. Are we straining our back too much? Are we, oh, my ankle's broken? So we have heightened senses when it comes to our physical body. We know when our ankle's broken, um, we know it. We know when our back's in pain. We may not know internal things, but eventually those internal things we will be able to sense them. It might not just be, on day one, but we will. Even our emotional body, we know when we're sad. We know when we're depressed. We know when we're angry. We know when we're frustrated, even mentally. We in our emotional body, we have heightened sense of our mental thing. We, we know when we're being logical. We know, we sense, we're using our knowledge in, in our job, to, we're calculating things, or whatever job we do, if you, as an attorney or something like that, when you're using your mental body, because you're figuring things out. You're connecting the dots. But in our spiritual body, we have a heightened sense of spirituality when we're really in the fifth dimension. But since, as mankind, we're not, that leap was so big of a leap, we didn't really take that leap. So a lot of our spiritual senses, or heightened spiritual, weren't really aware. We weren't really aware. So we weren't really trying to master that sort of the spiritual body. Because we're, we have the spiritual body is just there for us, and we tap into it. But to the sensitivity of the spiritual body is I feel there's been sort of a lack of heightened sensitivity when it comes to the spiritual body, because spiritual things happen energetically to us and we don't even know what's going on a soul level we know, but on a conscious level, like on a state of being right here now, we don't really have an awareness. We just know there's something going on. While in the physical body, we know my leg's broken. I'm using my brain to figure out this problem. I'm sad. We know that instantly. We don't need to guess. But our spiritual body is like a lot of guessing, like, oh, what's going on? I don't even know. So in this current age, while the fifth dimension is like smack here, it's like right on our doorstep. There's no more sort of denying what your spiritual feeling, because you're so heightenedly sensitive to what your spiritual body is communicating to you. While before it kind of just comes in and comes out, and it's just like, what happened, and just driven by your emotional, physical, and mental body that's really got you through life, and you may have had a life of happiness and whatnot, but not truly the optimal, just the highest potential life, because highest potential life means having all bodies, emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual bodies, all in alignment to truly have the optimal, highest possible life. Because that's why I feel like as a collective we've had a lot of suffering, as especially in world history, not just America history, but world history, because of the fact that we had limitations. We thought that we didn't have enough resources, so we needed to bring African slaves to America to because we didn't have enough resources to make the life we wanted. So a lot of it with the limitations idea, we think we don't have enough, and that's why the vibration of Earth is more in the vibration of a lack, because of the whole belief of limitations. So when you have lack, you feel like you can't reach your dreams, because in your soul, like, you can do this, you can build this empire, you can you can create a colony in eastern side of America, but when you truly feel like you don't have the manifestation power, when you don't really connect with your spiritual body, you don't really have faith, trust, you don't really have this, you feel it in your heart that you can manifest what you want, but then again, you have this thought that there's a chance that you can't do it. So it's like sort of a weird, confused message that we face as a collective. So you feel like you need to get, you need to take for something. You need to. There's a lack, so in order to fill that lack, you need to do something to get that lack there. And a lot of it was in a physical sense, you know. But now, as the spiritual body is really integrating into our being, we're realizing that the lack is the way to fill in the hole. I guess in the lack mentality is not of a physically bringing stuff in, like in America, bring slaves to fill the lack of manpower and the ability to build houses and stuff like that, and to work on farms. Now we're realizing to fill the hole, the gaps, and the lack is consciousness, is state of being, is shifting your perception. That's what's filling the hole. But we didn't have that understanding because we weren't even ultra sensitive to our spiritual body, because there was a big gap between the fifth dimension and the third dimension. So nobody made that jump. There were a few people that made that jump. I do believe, like, Albert Einstein and other people that made that jump, and went back and forth between the fifth dimension and third dimension. But a lot of those people, face a lot of times adversity and weren't understood. It was like, what are you saying? That makes no sense. But Albert Einstein, he just happened to be one. He had such a mental capacity that he was able to go to the fifth dimension and retrieve information and bring it back to the third dimension. And since he had the mental capacity, he was able to translate it and mold it into something that the third dimension can comprehend. Well, most people during that day couldn't. They didn't have the mental capacity or the mental strength, because everything, the mental body, the emotional body, the mental body, it's like a work at it. You have to, it's like a, you got to work at it, just like building muscles. It's not just a given. You have to work at it. So, and he just happened to really be excellent in working in getting the muscles of the mental body, and that's what really I feel helped him be able to get this fifth dimensional concepts and translate a third dimensional way where people can, it can be comprehended and understood. And that's really the key. That's really the key. But since, right now in our current age, the fifth dimension and the third dimension is so interclose that really the fifth dimensional wisdom, you don't really have to really translate it uh, in a very, like you had to translate it in before in our history, because people, they're getting it because they're the fifth dimension, the third dimension is so close together that people are like, they're being able to, oh, okay, I comprehend that. You don't really have to translate it to them. The information that you've given to them, they can understand it, they can comprehend it. Even if they don't really fully understand it, they can be able to conceptualize the idea, and that's really great. That's really great to be able to conceptualize it, because if people can't even conceptualize an idea, then it's just going to go over their head, and it's just going to be irrelevant, if it doesn't even make sense. Just like Albert Einstein, if it is the wisdom he had didn't even make sense to his colleagues or to anybody, it'd just be irrelevant. It would be useless. It'd be just like reading a book in like some language, like an alien language, and nobody even knows the language. It would just be irrelevant. So if you're going to write a book based on an alien language or something like that, you got to translate it to English or some language that people can access and understand. So basically, the shift that I was feeling this morning, I just woke up and I was just looking at my Facebook, and I don't know, I just had this out of body experience, and I was just looking at the events on coming up, and other people, and what they're posting, and just scrolling through, and I just like, man, there's something went down last night. I feel like the veil just got even dissolved even more, and it got even thinner between us and the fifth dimension, because a lot of people are really feeling this spiritually, this heightened spirituality within their spiritual body, and they're people are very curious, and there's like a curiosity, and that's really the beginning of something really great. A curiosity with this celestial realm, with the fifth dimensional realm, on this possibility of life being, you can actually create the dreams. All you do is have to align with it. Okay, and going back with the magnets thing, I kind of lost track with the magnets, but my guides, they wanted me to talk about the magnets analogy that they were telling me before, but I kind of went spin off into something else. The magnets, okay. Basically, what I was saying before about, you're having feelings like deja vu, you're in the car and you're just like, you feel like something's going on, you're getting little visions, but it's too quick to comprehend it because your soul is in the fifth dimension. Uh, Wanting to bring in a manifestation in the physical third dimensional realm that you're in, such as a new love, such as a new career, something that can bring you great vibrational bliss, can really stimulate your vibration. So a lot of times you have this magnet, it's like a unique magnet that has a unique match. Like there's just all these magnets going on there, each have their own unique match. So you have this magnet that's created in the fifth dimension, such as a magnet of, manifesting your twin flame or your life partner or just life, the career, and it's up here. So a lot of times, since the veil is so thin now, you're feeling on an energetic soul level in all your bodies that there's this magnet, which is basically an opportunity for you to experience something like a new opportunity. But in order to pull that in, you have to be the magnet's match. That means you have to mold yourself. You have to, your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual body. You have to transform yourself. You have to shift yourself and be the state of being. It's like a state of being. You have to be the magnet. So you can pull the magnet into your physical reality. So, and once you've got, this celestial sort of, because a lot of times manifestation happens in the celestial realm, not the physical realm. It first happens in the celestial realm, where your soul is wanting to call this in. You experience this, but a lot of times we're consciously aware of this now. But before, it was just like shit happens. Like you'd think that, oh, this you just happen to randomly cross paths with your life partner at the stables when you were putting the horses away or something like that. It was just like, oh, that was just random. But now we're knowing that we're actually the stuff that's coming into our life, we've actually in the higher realms decided we wanted to experience that. So it's not random anymore. It's not just shit happens. It's like on soul level, since the veil is so thin, we can actually connect with the fifth dimensional, what we're orchestrating for ourselves in this realm, the esoteric realm, while we're sleeping or throughout our day. That um, we are realizing nothing is random. So, but we were unaware of this fact in Earth's history, but we were doing it, like unconsciously doing, like sleepwalking. You're unconsciously doing something, but now we're aware, and that's why things are happening faster for us. Where we're not, it's happening faster. Like we're manifesting, boom, 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 like anything we want because we're consciously aware of it. So we are literally molding ourselves to be this magnet that is basically the complement of this magnet in the higher realm. So that's how we're really pulling it in to our physical realm. And like, bam, you met your life partner, you met your twin flame because you became the state of being, you became the magnet that was its vibrational match to the magnet that you created consciously, spiritually, celestially in this fifth dimensional realm. So that's something the guides wanted to analogy for, basically, calling in your dreams and having things come in your life, such as being your life partner, that we're knowing it's not random anymore, that we happen to meet this person or that person, or have manifest this opportunity or that opportunity. But since we're coming consciously aware of it, there's more responsibility with that too. Before the angels, I feel like they're always giving us help, but before, since we were in the third dimension, deeply rooted in the physical life, the angels were really helping us to orchestrate, life force, helping to mold us to be the vibrational match of that manifestation in the higher realms to pull it in before. But now there's more responsibility with awareness. Just like with anything, just like with technology. When you have the awareness of technology, there's more responsibility with it, such as the atomic bomb. You have this creation of the atomic bomb, but there's a hell lot more responsibility when it comes to that because you can't just do whatever you want with it. And with this true understanding, the spirit guides or the angels are like, you have more responsibility now. Meaning, we're not going to walk your hands through this. Yes, we're going to help you through this process, and they're always there, but the responsibility comes from the fact that since you know that you are really the creator of reality, you are the ones that really have to, kind of take responsibility for the things that you've created, because it's you who has created it. That's where the responsibility comes from. Because when the angels give you that responsibility, they're like, here you go, here's that responsibility. Then you'd be like, okay, I know, I understand. I'm responsible for this that is coming into my life. How can I shift it? How can I become a vibrational match with those other opportunities that are for my highest good, that are up there in the celestial realm, just waiting for me to call it in? And that's when the angels come. They come fluttering in, and they're like, okay, well, we'll help you. We'll help you mold and shift your vibration so you become a vibrational match for that. And then they set things in your path to help you, to help you. So, but really, this responsibility comes from you're conscious now. What are you going to do with that consciousness? What are you going to do with it? You know, are you going to continue to, manifest maybe the same old you've been manifesting, a relationship where you're settling, a career where you're settling, because you can do that? Or are you going to manifest the life of your dreams? It's like you have to make that decision. You have consciousness now. We before as angels we were walking your hand through everything because of you're deeply rooted in the physical, and you really needed to be walked through life. But since you have consciousness, you're free. You have the freedom to choose what you want to choose, decide upon what you want to decide. But you got to be careful about what you decide upon, because you can decide upon your optimal highest possible life, or you can decide upon a life of just settling. And that's where your responsibility is for. So I guess that's really all I want to say about this lovely discussion. My God, definitely interesting sort of video because I can feel the energies right now. I can almost feel the guides, and it's amazing. Like I feel like the veil got even thinner today, this morning. I don't even know what happened last night. If there was some planet sort of stuff going on, something going on in the cosmos, but whatever went down in the cosmos, it was definitely really helping this planet to get on track to getting these two-dimensional realms, such as third and in the fifth dimension, get them basically smack on each other. So okay, well, that's all I have to say about this topic. So bye.